Welcome to tonight's episode of In the Multitude of Counsel. Tonight we are excited to bring to you our very special guest, Charla Young. She is with the Power to Exhale movement and has just written a brand new book, How to Turn Spam into Chicken Salad. Charla, tell us a little bit about the beginnings. I know the end is the book, and you have the great movement of the Power to Exhale, the Charla Young Show, and all the different things that we see out of you. But there were some times in your life that you felt maybe you had to go through some press and some different things in your life. Tell us a little bit about the press part of your life and how that was.
Oh, we don't have enough time. Well, I tell you what, you know, a lot of people look at you and they say, oh, she thinks she's got it going on. She doesn't understand what hard times are because she's on top of the world. But, you know, there are so many things going on between, you know, behind people's eyes and behind their smiles, and they could be smiling on the outside and absolutely dying on the inside. And I think that would be like the most accurate description that I could give for myself so many different times in my life. I've been on the stage since the age of 2. I started with the 3 little kittens, and they haven't been able to pull me off the stage. When I graduated, they said you should be a journalist because you love to talk for a living. So I've always been like super over the top, go-getter, achiever, always wanted, you know, great things, always reaching for the next thing. Yeah. That can be good, and it can also be bad, because then you're never satisfied with where you are. And I think that eventually led me down a path where I was very unhappy, you know, with myself. And I would say, oh, if I could get this car, or if I could get this job, or if I could lose weight, or if I could get the lines out of my neck, or, you know, all of these things, I would basically conjure up in my mind. I think it started in the first newsroom when I was in Columbus, Mississippi, and they said, oh, your face is too round. So I went on this massive diet. I lost 30 pounds, and guess what? My face was still round. Because it's a part of my DNA, and my dad's face is round, and my mom's face is round. So, you know, but I would literally take my hair, which was very similar to your style right now. It was longer, and I would put it on the sides of my face, trying to like take away some of my face. So if you look at some of my earlier TV tapes, they look like the helmets that the people used to wear back in the 20s, because I would literally put my hair in that way. And I think that off and on, I would kind of dance a little with depression, because I was always seeking more, and I always needed more to be happy. I don't think that the serious round of depression came until after I had graduated from college, and I got a big old cup of Spam, which is what, you know, life gives you. And I don't know if you've ever eaten Spam, but I have.
Yes, I have.
And it is in a can, and it's the food that no one wants to eat. Yet, I think it is the absolute food that we need to sustain us. Because without the Spam, we can never appreciate that filet mignon that's in our lives down the line.
Yes, I see. So tell us a little bit more about how you've taken this Spam and turned it into some type of passion. Like, how do you keep that passion? How did you keep that going?
That's really good. So the Spam that I'm talking about became very intense once I moved to Kentucky. Because I left all of my family and friends in Mississippi, and I decided to spread my wings, which is great. You should stretch yourself. You should go beyond your comfort zone. In fact, if you're comfortable today, you're in the wrong spot, because you need to be somewhere where you are absolutely uncomfortable. So I moved to Kentucky, and out of all of the places, I ended up on a farm in Frankfort, Kentucky. And it was the most beautiful duplex, but it used to be a barn, and my landlord, Elois Peach, had turned it into this amazing duplex. And even when I moved in, I knew I couldn't afford it. We were moving from an apartment that I couldn't afford, but I got a more expensive apartment because I don't know. You know, it's just what you want. You want
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
And so I was there living above my means, and I was 8 months pregnant. And you guys have two things that we don't have. You have city county taxes, and you have snow and ice. So I'm 8 months pregnant, slipping in the snow and ice, talking about there's snow on the ground, which I still don't understand as a news reporter today, why we have to go outside and tell you that it's snow, because you can probably see that. But the other thing is that your city county taxes basically took the $10,000 raise I thought I was getting, and I started making less than I was in Mississippi. So things got really, really bad. And I got to the point where I was going to be evicted from the apartment because we were 3 months behind on rent. I had literally gotten the key from the landlord and then dodged her for 3 months because I didn't have rent. In addition to that, I had a box of crackers and a bag of oranges in my pantry. We had no money to get anything else, and we were literally sitting in the dark because we could not pay the light bill. 8 months pregnant, in the dark, and I said, this is too much. So you talk about the press.
Yes.
I mean, this was literally where I was going through the most intense heat. And I don't know, you know, if people out there are biblical scholars or even Bible students, but I felt like this was my Job experience. And I began to get really, really, really depressed. I would go through the motions, but when I would get home, I would sit in the dark. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to interact with anybody. And I really felt like I was passing this depression on to my son because I was pregnant with him. And I said, oh my gosh, my son is going to come out so sad and so unhappy. And anyway, Elois Peach, I went to her one day. This was when the pressure became just like, yeah. And I said, I'm going to jump. Like, I had gone to the check into cash place to get $100 at 380% interest.
Oh, wow.
And I had packed up our little Ford Escort and we were headed home. And I had called Walmart in my hometown of like 300 people, including the chickens and dogs. And I asked if I could be a cashier because I was going to give up on news and give up on all of these facades and all of these things that people wanted me to be, because that's also pressure. You know, I left a small hometown and everybody said, be somebody. And I said, be what? And they said, somebody. You know, and so to go back and be nobody was pressure. But I went to Elois Peach and I said, this is, you know, too much and I'm going to give up. And I was crying and I was boohooing, and that's when the depression got to be too much. But at least, at the very least, I reached out and articulated that to someone. And I think that sometimes the stigma of depression, we won't say to someone, you know, I really am just sad. You know, I really don't know why. I really, you know, or I'm really sad because all of the pressures in life are coming to me. And Elois Peach saved me that day. I literally believe that she was an angel dispatched from heaven to save me from me.
Yeah.
You know, because I wanted to give up, which a lot of us do when we're there.
Yes.
And she said to me, she said, Charla, your future is so bright, it burns my eyes.
Wow.
And she said, one day you're going to help thousands of people, but today I've got to help you.
And you know, as you're sharing that, and as you're talking about that, it makes me think, as we're talking about situational type of depression, it was a situation in your life that had amassed to something so great in you, and it felt to you like it was hindering.
Yes.
You. But then also the internal drive of wanting other people to be pleased, and the pressure just from that community, from the 300 people, plus the dogs and the chickens. I mean, that pressure of, we need you to be someone. And sometimes, you know, when we're dealing with depression, that can lead you to feeling the overwhelming feeling of shame and guilt and feeling like I'm a failure, or I'm not really doing, everybody expects me to make it and I'm not. And a lot of times when we as therapists, we talk about situational types of depression, that's a great example of how life situations, and somebody out there may be dealing with some life situations even now and can identify with some of the things that you have shared. And I'm hoping that you're hearing that even as she was going through and not knowing that there was something that was keeping her in the game. This episode was brought to you by Creative Spirits Counseling Center, transforming lives into creative spirits. 3 locations, Shelbyville, Louisville, and Danville, Kentucky. Tell us a little bit more about how that passion came about, and a little bit about Miss Peach and how she was able to help you to redirect your path.
You know, well, after she said your future is so bright, it burns my eyes, she said, I want you to go home and write down every bill that you have and bring it back to me. The total was $28,751.62, and she wrote a check for $28,751.62 and wiped my slate clean and said, the only thing I want you to do is find a way to help others. So she saw this in me, even when I was down, broke, busted, and disgusted at the lowest place possible. She still saw this potential in me and was able to help me pull myself up by my bootstraps and find my purpose. Now I know, looking back, that Frankfurt farm experience was absolutely necessary to get me to where I am today, and it's what I now call spam, because whether we want to eat it or not, we're going to eat it. It does not matter how much money you make, what car you drive, what color you are, life will give you spam. You're just driving down the road and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, where did that come from? And basically, it's never what happens to you, but how you react to it. So you can say, oh, well, spam is the only thing I can eat, and that's all I can eat, and my mama ate spam, and my grandmama ate spam, and so that's all I'm gonna eat. Or you can say, hey, so if I take a little of this and I take a little of that and then I take that bad experience, because usually bad experiences are there to teach us, and it's there to mold us, and it's there to really fertilize seeds that have been planted for quite some time. But if you don't get a little fertilizer, and you know what fertilizer is, right? It's a little, stuff that you have to put in the soil to make it come. And stuff politely today is spam, and that's what comes our way sometimes, but it has to be put into the soil or you never get to the root cause and to your purpose that you mentioned earlier.
I see. And I see that just kind of helping and helping to redirect you, help to reshape that spam too. Maybe you turn it into some spam loaf or
I did.
So that's important. Now I know that it sounds like too, as she was kind of stimulating and helping you, you gained some things. And I remember when I went to the Power to Exhale in Miami, you shared and you talked about power, how empowered you were by that. And you gave a definition of power. Share with us about that, about the power, how it promotes your purpose and the different things that represents.
I think today your topic is depression, and you talk about depression and what bad things can come from it if you don't reach out for help, and we certainly want to promote that today. However, though, depression for me, a lot of the times, and I even had a recent bout as recent as August of last year. But what it does for me is it allows me to be still, because I'm literally paralyzed with fear, with whatever is going on, with anger, with grief, you know, and I've had several bouts. I mean, I had it, the time that I was broke, busted, and disgusted. I had it again when I lost my precious dad. I had it again when I lost a major deal in television. So those are the kinds of things, and they will come and go. And I think you probably will share that there are different levels. And so some things are normal, you know, and you have to recognize when those things are not. For me, depression, though, helped me to find my power. And power for me, it is an acronym, and I use it daily, because the P is for purpose. And I now know that my purpose in life is to empower others. It's what Elois Peach prophetically found in me when I was down at my lowest. She said, one day you're going to help thousands of people. She said, help. but the word was empower. I was going to empower thousands of people. It's what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
But without that experience, then I wouldn't know how to interact with a woman when she says, I can't pay my light bill, my husband left me, all of those. I had to go through every phase of that so that I would know how to act when I got to my powerful purpose in life. So the P then is for purpose. And I think that if you're listening today and you don't know what your purpose is in life, that I first tell people, find your curiosity. What are you curious about? You know, and then continue to follow that, because the curiosity will lead you to your purpose. And I want to say this too, that purpose is not your job.
Yes.
Would you agree?
I agree, totally.
Purpose is not your job.
Right.
Your job is what pays the bill.
Right.
Purpose is what you were created to do.
Yes.
And I really, in my whole heart, believe that I am created to empower others. It's what I do every day, all day, at McDonald's, at Subway, at the playground, here, you know, everywhere. It's just what I do. So O is for turning obstacles into opportunities. And so the O for me, obstacles were all of those things, you know, too many bills, in over your head, wayward kids, divorce, you know, cheating spouses, all of these kinds of things. It is spam. Breast cancer diagnosis, you know, prostate diagnosis, all of those things is what life gives you. And so what are you going to do with those obstacles, or as I call them in my book, spam? Are you going to take it and whip up some chicken salad, which is opportunities? It's success. You know, or are you going to take it and just say, this is all that I can do with it? So the O in power is for turning obstacles into opportunities. And then the W is for wisdom. And I'm so happy that I have a friend in you, because I often seek wisdom from Cassandra Harris Gray. And that is because in life, you have to have someone, the Bible says, seek wise counsel. And you don't want to just seek any counsel. Because I don't talk to broke people, because I'm trying to be wealthy. You know, so broke people can't give me advice about being wealthy. So I don't talk to broke people about being wealthy. You know, I talk to broke people because I want them to be empowered. But you get what I'm saying.
I got you.
And then if I want to be an eagle, I don't hang out with chickens. You know, and so I hang around who I want to be. You know, and so my friends, a lot of them have jets. You know, today I have a kite, you know, but one day I'm going to have a jet, because I'm hanging around the people who have the jets. So my point is that in power, you have to seek wisdom, because you don't have all of the answers. And no man is an island, so you can't assume that you know all. And you can be all, because it's definitely not true. And then E is every day is a day of Thanksgiving. Every day is. And I love the Lord, and I don't mind telling anybody about it, and I get chills when I think about the goodness of Jesus and all that he has done for me. Because when we talk about the seed that is planted in the ground, and we talk about the spam and all of the fertilizer that is needed, we need the rain, you know, we need the storms, and they need to blow, you know. So don't despise small beginnings. Don't despise the rain and the storms and the hurricanes and the tornadoes, because the toughest terrain is just before daybreak. You know, so if you can just keep climbing, then joy comes in the morning. And I believe that in order for that seed to really sprout, you know, for you to really get past depression and get into your full season, as I have been able to do, you know, you have to have the sun, S-U-N, and then your yellow reminds me of the sun. It's so bright, it makes me bright. But also you have to have the sun, S-O-N. And the sun, that sun is the one that will keep you from falling, you know. And even in the midst of it all, I know that my faith carries me. And I continue to take the steps, you know, even when I can't see the whole staircase. And my favorite saying is, jump and the net will appear. Just jump. Jump and the net will appear, and count it all joy. Count it all joy. Because Romans 8:28 says that all things work together for the good, all of them. Everything. So even depression, even the grief, even the bad things, even all of the spam that you're eating, you like, girl, can I just get some steak? And the steak is coming. The steak is coming. You know, but you just have to count it every day is
Yes.
a day of Thanksgiving, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yes.
And then
absolutely.
R is all about relationships, building relationships. And I say that in life, everybody is a bridge or a burden. They are one of the two, every last one of them.
Okay.
And we won't go down the list today on
Come on.
tape. But I can put everybody
Come
in my
on.
life in that category. And so once I determine that you are a burden, then I exit stage left, you know, and that's okay. I say, and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's a wrap.
Go.
And it is a wrap, and it's okay. I love you still, just
Yeah.
from afar. And so you have to be able to figure out who's going to take you to the next
Yes,
point in life.
absolutely.
And if that person and that relationship does not help you but hinders you, that's your territory.
Come on.
You got to step off the plane,
Come on.
jump for a different reason.
Yeah.
And so that's power, purpose, obstacles into opportunities, wisdom. Every day is a Thanksgiving, and build those relationships. And then you've got the power.
That's good stuff. That is good stuff. So I know someone listening today has felt like, hey, my grief or, you know, the situations that I'm going through in life, they really seem to be at this time to just kind of overwhelm me or overtake me. And I just know, just hearing you and hearing your story and hearing the things that you have gone through and how you've taken those things and allowed those to re-energize you, how you reframed, how you redirected yourself and was able to move forward from those. And using that power method, I think we all can use that.
Absolutely.
And I hope those that are listening today will be able to hear that, the power. You have the power.
Yes.
You don't have
You
to
have
let
the power.
Yes.
You do.
Yes.
And I think sometimes you have to hit rock bottom to get the power.
To get there. Yes.
You have to hit
Yes.
rock bottom. I mean, think about it. Now listen to this. Tyler Perry found his power after doing theater plays for 7 years
Yes.
with no more than 30 people. But look at him now.
Yeah.
Oprah found her power when she was fired as a talk show host and she was fired as a television anchor and demoted to a talk show host, which just happened to be her power.
Yes.
You know, T.D. Jakes found his power while laying on the pews wrapped in robes because they had nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
So you look at what you think is there to destroy you
Yes.
actually ends up being your power base to catapult you to great things.
Yes.
So I say no matter where you are in life,
Yes.
you are exactly where you're supposed to be.
Wow. Awesome. Awesome. This episode was brought to you by the Brick Room of Shelbyville, Kentucky. Let us plan all of your events for you. Just for the last few minutes, tell us a little bit about the movement that you are working with, the ladies that you are working with, and the women, and how you've even taken this movement even further. So share with us.
So when you read my book, which I hope you will, How to Turn Spam into Chicken Salad, it starts with this big no that I got, which led to my latest bout of depression. But when I came out of it, God said, hey, I answered your prayer. It just wasn't in the way you expected. And when I looked around, this movement that started like 2 years ago with 70 women in Asheville, North Carolina, had grown to thousands of women all over the globe, to include Australia and Greece and Germany and Jamaica.
Yeah.
And I went, holy smokes, like this is a movement.
Yeah.
And so all of the reality TV, and I know some of y'all watch the Housewives of whoever, and I don't even know them because I just can't deal with them. But, you know, they pour a lot of reality, a lot of negativity out there.
Yes.
You know, and I would like to say here on your show today that they do not represent me. And so what I want to do is pour something the total opposite of what they are doing, because they shed really negative light on women. You know, all of the backstabbing and the betrayal and the cheating and the sleeping with everybody's husbands and it's just too much.
Yeah.
So I said, what about a movement that speaks to positivity and power and love amongst women? Like seeing you here with your show today, I just want to turn cartwheels and then backflips because it's so exciting to see you raised to your true potential. And this isn't even the tip of the iceberg, and I'm excited for you. And I wanted to build a movement where we could uplift and support each other. So it's called Power to Exhale. It spins out of Waiting to Exhale, which is that great movie that all women have seen, you know, where we laugh and cry and drink wine and eat a lot of chocolate and do those things together. But at the same time, we support each other through the good and bad. And you know, it says, count on me through thick and thin. You can count on me. And I really want to mean that for women. And guess what? I'm not doing anything and God is just spreading it. I'm like, look at God. Is he amazing or what?
He is. He is.
He is totally amazing. So that's my new platform, and it's not a bad life to travel all over the globe and tell women about love for each other. And to be able to spread love through charitable events and all of those kinds of things. And we do fabulous retreats. You're going with us to St. Thomas. You went with us to Miami. We're going to Jamaica soon. And we are all over the place where we have a really good time. We relax, we relate, we release, and then we woosah. Yes. Which is good, you know, just to take a deep breath. You know, just doing that makes me go, I'm powered up. You know, because I actually took some time to just breathe. And I think a lot of women and men, you know, we're pulled in a lot of different directions. But when you take time to pour back into yourself is a good thing. And that's what Power to Exhale is all about. We're really excited about you and your husband. You will be pouring into the lives of our couples. So we have a couples retreat that we do out of Power to Exhale. We have exotic escapes. We're going to Dubai this year. You know, so it just goes on and on. And I'm looking at God going, okay, so what are you going to be next? And just, can I be a part of it? Because it's something super special. And even though this is going to sound really, really weird, I'm glad I hit rock bottom another time recently. Because this time, it was the springboard into this purpose-filled life. And like right now, I know without a shadow of a doubt that if I keep moving in this direction, all of those things, that's what God calls them in the Bible, things, because they're so trivial. You know, all of those things will be added unto you. Because the love, the power, and the positivity is the most important thing that I'm to pour into everybody. And if I am about my Father's business, then he will be about my business. Always.
And I think that's what people are looking for. And I hope today, as you're listening, that you're able to hear that from Charla and to really take heed with all the negativity that is out there and all the different things that try to pull us down or pull us in a different direction. That with love and peace and making sure that we serve one another and love one another, that from that can be something very, very awesome.
I mean, just like this show, it is about serving others. And you know what will happen is that positive energy you are putting out to the universe, it's going to come back to you. In all of the things that you need to make it in life, it's going to come back to you. And I said, women have got to stop saying, oh, she thinks she's all that. Oh, honey, she thinks she's a bad chick. She is all of that and a bag of chips.
Come on.
She is.
False bad chick.
Doing it.
Absolutely.
And my niece let me hear the cutest song this weekend. It was called Boss. Michelle Obama, purse so heavy, carrying Oprah dollars. Come on. I was like, yes.
All right.
You know, she's a boss.
She's a boss.
And all of us are trying to be a boss. You know, and we have great examples of what it looks like. But I want to be able to reach and teach, you know, every woman I see. Every woman I see, I want them to get into the Power to Exhale fold and understand what it is to love, because we really have to rewire ourselves and, you know, change our DNA.
Yes, absolutely.
Because it is natural to hate. So now we got to turn that hate into appreciate.
Come on, absolutely. Well, I know today you're going to walk away with some very good tips. One, understanding that when you're going through difficulties, that they are going to come. Like Charla talked in life. And I know when we work as therapists, we try to help put that in context. And the context, we call it, is life cycle. that everybody's going to go through life, and there's going to be good and bad in life.
Yes.
And it's just about how you deal with it, how you take that, what has been given, and you move yourself forward from that. And so we are so excited. We thank you today for joining us and sharing your story. We want you to get that book.
Yes. Get the book. Get the book.
Get the book.
And when life gives you spam, whip up some chicken salad.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us tonight.